You guys, this is the exact same COVID play. I'd just like to read this off for you real quick. The COVID play was sensationalism, fear. Let alt media get in there and hype it up. Throw a little well-placed sabotage and death in there. Blame something, convict it. Make sure that thing you're blaming and convicting for everything is something that's everywhere, already in everything, or going to be found one way or another anywhere you want to find it. Follow that up with aggressive testing and policy change, which in this case will be confiscation, destruction of real property, condemning land, incurring cleanup costs, raising property value, at the very least making sure that these farms can't produce anything this year. All this will lead to bank repossessions and policy changes in the future for how we handle chemicals, what can be, in the background right now, I'm sure there's a whole myriad of laws being changed about how we can, how industry is being disrupted right now by the chemicals we can transport. Watch this come out. And guys, if they come out here and like I said, this is fluid. So if they come out here and decide not to push it this time, what they will do is they'll affect enough change to where next time they can do it right off the bat. There won't be any thinking. It'll be boom, you guys got to go. Yeah. So they're working this. This is a response to the EPA finding dioxin, finally releasing some tests saying that they found dioxin in Ohio. This is also a response to the big alt media channels that just want to be right so bad about this because they crossed the Rubicon and can't really go back. Once they create enough fear and sell you products and make all these baseless claims, it's pretty hard to go back. The EPA, in order to confiscate land, destroy property, all these things that they want to set into motion up there with the Amish and everybody in that whole area, that whole grow zone, they have to find it. We knew they were going to find it. If you didn't know they were going to find it, please raise your hand and take that hand and slap yourself. All right. So, and when I see big alt media channels that are supposed to be on our side spinning this to the mainstream narrative side, literally trying to spin this like the EPA is down there trying to not find dioxin, which is the complete opposite of what is more than likely going on. Considering all the bull crap subterfuge about this dioxin and considering the fact that it's already on everything, according to the WHO, they said in 2016, it's on everything. It's in the background everywhere because there's been chlorine in the water for 115 years. That everybody's got it in the background. Now, that doesn't mean certain levels aren't high enough. The problem is we have zero evidence. Zero that the dioxin they found was produced by something new, that they didn't put it there. This is their test. They're the only ones. And you really think this is an accident, man? That they're the only ones who have a test? It took them a month to come up with it. You think they were down there trying to hide dioxin so they wouldn't find it? Or do you think they were down there setting the stage? Which one do you think? Or maybe you think they were down there just hanging out, just doing nothing? No, probably not. All right, now, let me say something about chemistry, seeing as how it got brought up in the Health Ranger report. And yeah, I'm saying it. I'm coming out and saying it. I'm not trying to be derogatory here, but I have a right to speak. This is my opinion. And I'm tired of watching this go on, dude. And people are you just need to know what you're dealing with here. Look, there's zero evidence. So anybody who knows anything about chemistry, particularly someone who calls themselves a scientist, I'll repeat that, particularly someone who calls himself a scientist and a researcher, knows full well that in any chemical reaction, if you have more, like let's say so basically if vinyl chloride gets burned, it creates dioxin, this, that, and the other. Right, it creates other things too. There's other things in that reaction that are formed as well. But when you add another chemical to that reaction and then apply a catalyst such as fire, anybody who knows any chemistry whatsoever knows that if there's anything there that's not supposed to be there, or the ratios of what's there are messed up, you're going to get a whole array of all kinds of different stuff other than what you were targeting or what you suspected. In this case, we got 6 chemicals, and no one seems to have any idea what was or wasn't involved in what got, it's just, this is nonsensical. This has not been sorted out whatsoever. We're just going, yeah, dioxin. Okay, well, cool. I'd like to point out here that even he himself said there's not enough studies here on dioxin considering how toxic it's supposed to be. Where are all the studies? But all of a sudden now, there's enough studies to say that everyone's going to be deformed, everyone's going to die of cancer, all this stuff. The WHO stated in 2016 that there were 419 dioxins discovered at the time, according to mass spectrometry. And only a small percentage of those, less than 10%, were toxic to humans. Now, I'd like to say that anything containing chlorine would be toxic to life. Just about, unless it's, there's always exceptions, chlorides, things like that. But anyhow, man, and I'd also like to point out that it's really interesting. Other people have said this, but it's really interesting that dioxin just means two oxygens. I mean, imagine the history books on this. They were scared of oxygen, O2, so they ran away. Imagine the history books on this. I got a feeling they're going to try to scare you into leaving. They may come and confiscate things like that, but they need to drum up some fear first, dude. They need it. And the idea, once again, that the EPA is down there trying to not find dioxin so they can't run anybody, so they can't confiscate, so they can't incur cleanup costs, so they can't mess with these Amish, all this stuff, it's ludicrous. That is ludicrous. The probable land grab here is what we've all been talking about this entire time, is the probable land grab. Now, the toxicity of the water, the killing the fish, all this stuff. I mean, everybody knows this is a gigantic play. There's plays within plays here, but this is fluid. Now keep that in mind. These people know better than to lock themselves into a corner or a position. There's too many of us. You don't do that when you're up against this many people. You see what I mean? It's anybody who's ever taken martial arts. When you have multiple attacker scenario, you keep it moving, keep all your options in front of you the best you can, never back yourself into anything lock point, because then that's how you get got. They know that. So they're going to keep this fluid, meaning that, like I said before in the video I made, is dioxin the new COVID-19? If people don't respond with enough fear and do what they want, it is possible. I think it is possible. I think it's a possibility to consider that they'll just drop some until people are concerned, or put some in the area until people are concerned, or find it wherever they want until people are concerned. Guys, one thing we know about PCR tests, we learned in the PCR test thing, is that when you amp things up to the DNA level, to the billionth, like this test is going to be the femtogram thing, the human toleration, blah, blah, blah. When you do that, we get false positives all day long. And because the WHO already said that it's on everything, that means they're going to find it on everything they test. Everywhere they want to, anything they want to condemn, run you off of, they're going to find it on. So somebody coming out here and saying, so sorry, I'm right, they found dioxin. Guys, that's playing to the mainstream media narrative. Now, just because they found it and somebody's saying that, doesn't mean they're playing mainstream media narrative. But when they're playing it up like this, they are calling for the complete. You have Health Ranger Mike Adams calling for the complete evacuation of that area. Everybody's going to have to be evacuated and compensated and all this stuff with zero proof. Of the 419 dioxins, being as how only a small percentage of them are toxic, how do we know which one we're dealing with? Huh? Do you know that? Do you know that while you call for evacuation of people's lives, businesses, farms, everything? And what's going to happen when those people leave? You trust these people? No way, dude. No way. Sorry. Once again, I'm not saying there is or isn't anything there. What I'm saying is you need some evidence, and that evidence needs to be clear. So there's like one or two particular types of dioxin out of 419 that are being talked about here. And being as how there are 6 different things in that smoke, or 6 different chemicals there that we're talking about, impossible to say that. Impossible to say that. Were there some formed? Sure. Those dioxins would have a fingerprint riding with them too. They'd have other chemicals in that group and all that. I'd also like to mention they found blasting caps on properties over a mile away. Now, a piece of a blasting cap, you could put that in a howitzer cannon and fire it out. It ain't going to go a mile. And there wasn't a mushroom cloud high enough to get it that high up in the atmosphere where it'd be weightless and float around. So what's that say? Either the person on the property who said he found the blasting cap blasted something himself, or it came from where? Yeah, got dropped into the air, dropped into the clouds. And for the person who's trying to tell you that they waited for the rain to wash it away and dilute it, for that concept, what I'd like to say is, what do you think is more possible? That? Or they dropped something into the clouds and blasted it? Yeah. They just drop it right into the clouds, let it hit the ground, go test for it, and run you right out. And why do they need help from the big alt media channels to make it look like EPA's down there trying to not find anything, when actually this actual story is probably, as we know them to be, and as we see the pattern so far, and after what we saw with COVID and the bullshit in the same play, it's nonsense. This is playing to the mainstream narrative, period. That looks like they hit this. Everybody didn't scatter like they wanted to. Say backed off, they regrouped, and they're going to come back in with alt media. And right, wrong, or indifferent, there's just no evidence yet. And pretending that there is, that's absolute bullshit, especially from a scientist. What my question is here is, what happens if they just try to buy everybody, right? Because what they want is the land. They want you gone. They want people gone. They want the Amish out of there. They want the whatever, man. There's probably a million different things, man, here. What's going to happen if they offer everybody like $1 million or something? That's interesting. Once again, guys, 419 dioxins, according to the WHO. You guys, this is the exact same COVID play. I'd just like to read this off for you real quick. The COVID play was sensationalism, fear. Let alt media get in there and hype it up. Throw a little well-placed sabotage and death in there. Blame something, convict it, make sure that thing you're blaming and convicting for everything is something that's everywhere, already in everything, or going to be found one way or another anywhere you want to find it. Follow that up with aggressive testing and policy change, which in this case will be confiscation, destruction of real property, condemning land, incurring cleanup costs, raising property value, at the very least making sure that these farms can't produce anything this year. All this will lead to bank repossessions and policy changes in the future for how we handle chemicals, what can be, in the background right now, I'm sure there's a whole myriad of laws being changed about how we can, how industry is being disrupted right now by the chemicals we can transport. Watch this come out. And guys, if they come out here and like I said, this is fluid. So if they come out here and decide not to push it this time, what they will do is they'll affect enough change to where next time they can do it right off the bat. There won't be any thinking. It'll be boom, you guys got to go. Yeah. So they're working this. I'm the only people I see pretending that the EPA is down there trying to not find dioxin is these big alt media channels that have been selling you products, fear, and bullshit without any proof whatsoever. Dude, they just did a movie a year ago about this. Don't forget that. They just did a movie a year ago about this planned event. Who says the dioxin they're finding is even from recent? Nothing, dude. But like I said, in a fluid situation, they're going to pick and choose their moves right now. And if they can't do it right now, they're going to do something later. They're going to do something now, change some things. We're going to take concessions. Oh, thank God I didn't run everybody off. Not knowing that they went and changed a bunch of laws so that the next time they do something that's kind of like this, they can run everybody out in an instant. Like I said, once again, blasting caps, rain clouds. Oh, then they find it. Yeah. They're trying to lead people into demanding that they come in there and find something. That way, they can just ask for compensation. No one's going to try to double check the information. They want you to demand your own demise. And once again, I'd like to say, wow, what one for the history books. Everybody was scared of 2 oxygen molecules and hauled ass. When they're talking about what happened to everybody who used to inhabit this place. Well, they went crazy. You know, they got scared of oxygen, all this other stuff. So anyhow, man, this is just, there's way too many interesting things going on here, right? And for the people who are normally suspicious and pointing things out that I'm saying to you, you've got to be asking yourself right now why they're not doing it now. Because dude, I'm not the only one out here saying, man, this looks like a land grab opportunity. And even if they don't do it this time, they're going to set the stage for next time. They always pregame everything, guys. They always test drive everything. And I'd like to remind everybody that this program, destroying property and then incurring cleanup value and then incurring that to the person who owns it when they can't pay it, taking the property from them, that's already something that's happened several times in this country. That happens. So this is a program already in play. And right now, they're gauging our responses to see how far they're going to put that in play right now. So guys, don't go for the nonsense. Don't go for the bullshit. If they're going to sit there, if they're going to drop dioxin until people get scared, until it does hurt people, man, damn, dude. I just don't have an answer for that. But the people pushing this whole narrative must really love the fact that they're going to find it either way. Oh, me, how vindicated I am. I mean, we're looking at people with clear agendas here, man. People are clearly making money off this. I'm sorry. When they say look for whose benefits the most, I'm sorry. That applies to people you like too. I don't care. Just because somebody's doing something you're benefiting for, i.e. giving you information, different things like that, doing something you like doesn't make them a good person and make their motives solid and good. And just because somebody's doing something you don't like doesn't mean the opposite. You know, we got to evaluate these things on a case-by-case basis. But this blind brother love shit we got going on and not evaluating certain people on this platform, this is called somebody personally trying to get in and drive your narrative. Now, I'm not going to get into all that. But wow, dude. I mean, you talk about pushing it. Holy crap. There's times when it's like anyway, not going to get on. I'm not trying to hate on nobody, man. I'm just saying this looks like somebody's trying to commandeer your narrative and run it for you. It's almost like this is their personal narrative or something. Like I said, just look to see who benefits. One more time, this is a fluid situation. I think a lot of it's based on what we'll go for and what we won't. So let's keep our eyes on them and keep track of the people who are pushing this crap without proof, guys, because they know there's no proof. They know that. So anyhow, guys, this is based on a fire, and that fire turning everything into dioxin, and that fire having up to 6 different chemicals that make other different chemicals when they mix and all this other stuff. Anybody who knows anything about science knows better than that. You can't just assume any of that. I'm telling you, you can't just assume any of that. All right, guys, I'm going to hit me at robbanksinc@protonmail.com. Let me know what you think. Reach out to me. I'll reach out back to you, man. I hope you guys are doing okay today, man. Here's something for your dome. Pass this on, guys, because this is being picked up by big alt media channels and is about to be pushed down people's throat. We need to stop that. That's all there is to it. Look, man, if you got the proof, you got the proof. Otherwise, we need to have these conversations a little bit differently and calling for the evacuation of entire towns because somebody lit something on fire, dude. You got to do better than that. I'm sorry.